Management Virtual Workshop, our little lunch and learn here at Linear Tech. My name is Michael Holman, and with me is Miss LaQueta Ben Walker, and we will be your presenters today. And we're going to get started in just a moment. So excuse us while we forward this. If you do end up having questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We won't be able to see them right away because we'll be in presentation mode, but we do have the fantastic Megan Whitworth here that can also help us out with that should any of those questions need to be read as well. So with that said, we are going to get started. By the way, I do want to mention Miss Ben Walker. That is a fantastic shirt.
You like my lovely black shirt?
Yeah, it's black with polka dots, right?
It is.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love that shirt. It's nice. It looks very nice on you.
Oh, thank you. It's
Yes.
very comfortable.
Yes. So let's get started.
Okay.
So here we are at the very beginning with our hold on a second, guys. Yeah, we'll just do it. All right. So here we are. Let's start at the beginning talking about procrastination.
So guys, procrastination, this is like some of your middle, first and last name, right? Do you always put things off tomorrow, what you can do today? Oh, I'm gonna study at 7 and it's 8:30. I'm tired now. I might as well just take a nap. And you never study. So we really advise you guys to be a student, and this is my favorite quote, a student on purpose. So procrastination, you're gonna have to actually avoid those little small tasks that, get in the way, of you studying or doing your work. Some of those things are like little rituals, like, okay, I'm gonna have a snack. I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna just watch 15 minutes of this show. You know what? I need to go take a shower. I forgot to call my friend. Or, you know what? I wonder what they're doing on Twitter. See, let's try setting a specific time to study and do it. Those little rituals, use them like a reward. So for after 30 minutes of reading a chapter, then maybe prepare a snack and call your friend. Or then check social media at the end of the night if you have time. But your goal is you got to get the work done. You know you need to get it done. You don't want an F. So you're going to have to carve out some time to do what you need to do.
One way to really make sure that you are staying on track is to figure out what's the best way that you learn. And so with that in mind, I want to talk about learning styles a little bit. So there are 3 primary learning styles out there that we all use. There's the visual learner, the auditory learner, and then the tactile or experiential learner. And the easiest way to describe it is like this. Visual, you're the kind of person that needs to see things. You need to read stuff, and you'll learn best. So you learn best by looking at your notes, rereading your notes, maybe rewriting your notes, drawing charts and diagrams. You got to see it for you to really understand it. Or maybe you're an auditory learner. This is a person that learns through sound. So maybe you've got to have a conversation, and that's how you will learn. Or you learn best when you sit in that classroom and you just listen intently to what your instructor has to say about today's topic. Auditory learners, a great way for them to study is by listening to tapes, so maybe recording lectures, or watching videos, which is also a little bit visual, and then study aloud. This one's my favorite. I'm an auditory learner, so whenever I'm trying to figure out any kind of problem, I will say it out loud. I will literally talk myself through it. And it helps me to figure out what I need to do to learn something or to solve it. Sometimes you just gotta say it out loud and talk it out to yourself. Or maybe, like a lot of people in Linear Tech, you're a tactile or experiential learner. These are 2 types that are really closely connected. You are the kind of person then that learns by doing. So it's not enough you just sit in a classroom. You can't just sit there and listen or look at what's on a PowerPoint. and call it a day. You got to get up. You got to get moving. You've got to do worksheets. You've got to make a model. Maybe you've got to act out the part, or you've got to participate in an experiment. You've got to get hands-on and get into the nitty-gritty in order to really figure out how you're going to learn this stuff. You can't be passive. You've got to be an active participant. And so it's also possible you could be a combination of these three. So maybe you're a little bit of sight and a little bit of tactile, or you're a little bit of sound and a little bit of sight. It can go any number of different ways. But what's important here is think about what I've just described. Which one sounds most like you? Once you know what's most like you, that will help you to figure out the best way to study.
So, as I was mentioning, procrastination, learning styles, what's mostly important is getting organized. I hear so many students, friends and colleagues too, for that matter, I just can't get started, or I look at this mess on my desk. So regarding your classes, I recommend, because every class has a syllabus, you should go to Blackboard, read, and not only just read the syllabus, print it. Also, most classes should have some type of course calendar, your assignments, and when they're due. Print that too. And also, you want to maintain some type of master calendar of your assignments. Whether you're using a planner, an actual real planner, or a planner app, what you're going to do is either plan all of your study time in advance for 1 week at a time, or maybe 2 weeks. If you got time to do a month, go for it. But what you're doing is literally planning everything. Yeah, I'm waking up from 8 to 8:30. I'm having breakfast 8:30 to 9. If you have to work, put all of your daily tasks, errands in this planner and stick to it. Mostly on a Sunday is when I make mine. So you want to put in your assignment due dates, even put in your days for studying and the blocks of time you're going to have to study. Make an assignment list. Write down those due dates everywhere, please and thank you. And keep it with you. So if you have it on an app, or if you're even using a paper one, whatever your method is, or a calendar, keep it with you. Because you may be at work or you may be at the store. So if you're a person who's out a lot, the app will probably be better because you can set reminders on those and you can actually hear a ding or a bell when it's time to do something. So scheduling time for schoolwork, you have to set specific time aside. You can't just, when you get home, oh, well, I got 3 minutes, I'll just read this psychology. No, literally set specific times. So let's say, for example, if you're taking 3 classes, biology, psychology, and English, on your calendar, because granted, you can't spend your whole day studying, but the valuable time you have, use it. So on Monday, you may want to study from 6 to 8, your biology class. Tuesday, you want to study for an hour and a half to make some research for your psychology discussion board. And Wednesday, let's say you have some free time around lunch. Now you can do some research or make notes for your English paper that's coming up. Then Thursday, oh yeah, I'm done at work at 5, so I can block off 6 to 8 to finish my psychology homework. Friday, you may have an hour and a half. You're going to study for your biology exam that's coming up. And I'm sorry to tell you guys, as students, Saturday and Sundays, they're work days for school as well. If you're off work, awesome. Use those days to do some schoolwork. So Saturday, take a couple of hours, maybe 12 to 2, and finish your English paper. Now that's done for you. Sunday, you should take a day off. I do agree with this, but guess what you're going to do for at least about 30 minutes or so? You're going to make your schedule for next week. So once you create your schedule, and I know it works for me because I have to set limits for myself or some timelines. So when I see from 5 to 8, I'm supposed to be doing this, I literally make myself do it at that time. So you have to carve out your fun, your work, and your schoolwork, and literally write it down. So here's an example of what a schedule can look like. You see, you have your class on Monday, homework, class, work. What you're doing is just literally putting in the subject and what you're going to get done on these particular days at particular times. Also, here's a sample of what a week schedule will look like. As you can see, 7, yeah, I'm going to literally write down breakfast so I can know to eat breakfast at 7. At 8, carpool, travel. 9, math homework. 10, math, whatever you're doing, literally write it out. I even have time for dinner and family. Look at there. So that's always a good idea, and do this every week because we've heard a lot from students. Oh, I didn't know that assignment was due, or I forgot. But if you had your planner app or your calendar and you had all this laid out, you would have accomplished that and you wouldn't have forgotten something was due.
This has been Walker. Can I say something too?
Yes.
So what I really love about this is it goes back to what you were just telling us about being a student on purpose. You know, you guys know this, whether you're doing a full-time course load or you're just a part-time student, you've only got 1 or 2 classes. No matter how many classes you've got, being a student is a full-time job. And so that's why it's important to really look at your schedule and figure out, okay, what you could, sorry, words. That's why it's so important to kind of figure out what works for your schedule. You got to figure out your life too. So many times we hear, you know, Mr. Van Walker, Mr. Holman, I'm a mom, you know, or I've got this other job and I'm supposed to be a student. Well, that's part of it. So you've got to put in your schedule, okay, when does my life take priority? When does my job take priority? And when does my schoolwork take priority? Because it can easily get overwhelming for any of us.
And I will also point out that when it comes to, when I say a student on purpose, guys, you guys haven't even seen the PowerPoint. So when it comes to being a student on purpose, this means that when you don't feel like being a student, when you're tired and when you're stressed, you have to be one anyway. This is what I say on purpose, because you're here for a goal. Most of us, this is what my students tell me, you don't like some of your current jobs. So you have a goal. And your goal is to get this degree, this certificate, this diploma, so you can get a better job or something different or something that you're interested in. So that won't happen if you do nothing. I can promise you that. So when I say student on purpose, 8 o'clock, I'm so tired. Study for 30 minutes, maybe 35 minutes or 40. You've got to do what you need to do. Because again, you're not the only one tired. And I can just speak from experience as an instructor. Oh, I have so much going on. I'm so stressed. Yeah, welcome to life. We all are. So what you're going to have to do is then prioritize your stuff better. You're going to have to, again, set a time for family, fun, and schoolwork. And remember your goal. Every time you go to that job you hate, that should be motivation. So, that's the part I wanted to add.
So, there we go. So, have you maybe heard or said even some of these things before? Things like, I don't need to take notes. I understand it in class. You could. I see it so many times. A student will be sitting in class, and maybe you've had this experience yourself, where you're listening to what the instructor is saying. It's making perfect sense. It all is crystal clear to you. And then about 30 minutes later, you're like, what did we talk about?
What happened?
You know, it's when you're on the exam or you're doing the homework that suddenly all that stuff that you understood completely in class is just gone. That's why you take notes.
Yes, it is.
You got to understand, your memory is not perfect. Anything you are not paying attention to will not be remembered. For every second your mind wanders, you check your phone, stuff like that, you are losing information. And this is a scientific fact. Literally, information doesn't make it past our memory past the first second. So if you're not paying attention to it, it just fades away, disappears forever. But notice this next part. Information can be retained in your short-term memory for about 1 minute on average. So the amount of information we can immediately remember is very, very finite. Information can be forgotten at alarmingly fast rates too, even if you paid attention to every word in class. That's why taking notes can be so important. In fact, here is a famous chart called Ebbinghouse's classic curve of forgetting. And so Ebbinghaus was a guy who was studying memory. And what he did was he asked his participants to memorize a list of nonsense syllables, just little sounds, you know, ah, ooh, ee, those kinds of things. And so he had them memorize this list of like 10 syllables, and then he would immediately ask them to recall the entire list. Well, when he asked them immediately, they got 100% of it right. Makes sense. We literally just went over it. But look at this. When he asked them 20 minutes later to recall that same list, they were down to 60%. They could only remember about 60% of it. And then an hour later, it jumps down to a little over 40%. And then it's down to 9 hours. And well, that's 9 hours, you know, and then look how low it is. It's just at below 40%, and it's just getting worse. So now you think about that. You think about what it looks like when you leave your class for the day and move on to go do work or to do anything else. 8 hours later, maybe you wait till 2 days later for when you come back to class. Look how much you've forgotten. Look how low that chart is. So that's the whole idea, right? The more you wait without notes, that's how much information you're forgetting. So how can we take good notes? Well, number one, you can pay attention to what the instructor says and does, such as when they're writing something on the board or repeating information. If I take time out of my day to write something on the board, you should probably write that down. Because that means that it's something that is important, something I am taking extra time for you to try and remember. If possible, do some work before class, whether it is reading or looking at a set of math problems, whatever is relevant to the class that you're in. This does what we call priming to the brain and prepares it for class by getting yourself familiar with the topic. So when taking notes, write in your own words. This reinforces understanding of the topic and strengthens your memory on that topic. So, and this is so important. When you are trying to remember this stuff,
Hey guys, we lost your sound.
okay, how much of that did we lose?
Just a tiny little bit. You're fine.
Okay, this is a good chance for us to work on some technical difficulties. Give us a second, guys. We are gonna.
If someone wants to play background music.
Yeah.
Yay! Oh, it went away. You did it and then it was gone.
Yeah, it's being a jerk. Let's see what we can do to fix this. Sorry, guys. We've noticed that you guys weren't able to see very well, so we're
both of your beautiful faces.
I know.
And the screen. Hey, if you haven't already, make sure you sign in, name and email address in the comments. We're going to do a drawing at the end. So we want to make sure we have everybody entered. And then I wish I did have some cool waiting background music.
How does that look?
Perfect. You keep getting muted. Are you muting yourself?
Okay, how's that?
Great.
Technology is fun, guys. Okay, so here we are. Good old Ebbinghaus. I'm taking notes. All right, we're good. Yeah, let's do that. Good. We can work with that. Okay, cool. So let's look at some common mistakes that students will often make. The first one, like I said before, students will try to write down every single thing the teacher says without actually listening. When writing notes, it should be short and right to the point. Think about the core concept that your teacher is trying to teach you.
So, writing down everything your instructor says is not a good practice.
Yeah, that's never a good idea to do that, because you want to actually be paying attention to the information, not just trying to write a perfect transcript.
Because you can't.
You can't, yeah, and so you're going to get something wrong. While taking notes, students do not think about the topics their teachers are saying. It is important to take notes in order to remember ideas, but it is more important to understand the new complex ideas that are being introduced to them at a fast rate. Notes are useless if the students do not understand the underlying concept. So a lot of times in class, we might write these big old terms, right? And then the student will write that term, and they might even write the definition. But if it's not in their own words, and they don't understand the words used for the definition, then it does them no good. So you got to make sure that your notes make sense to you. For example, if Miss Ben Walker and I were talking about, what's a good one? Oh yeah, if we're talking about a particular kind of phobia in one of our psychology classes, and I say, oh yeah, that's just like parascaphotriadecaphobia. You go out of your way to write that entire big thing, and you're like, yeah, it's a phobia. What good does that do you? None at all. But if I say, oh yeah, that's like this one phobia, which is the fear of Friday the 13th, called parascaphotriadecaphobia. Now it actually has value to you. So that's what we're talking about. You want to make sure that your notes actually are worth something. If it's just words on a page, it's not.
And again, rewriting them, which I believe is in the next slide, but if you rewrite them in your own words, it makes sense to you, it'll stick a little bit more, in the PowerPoint.
Right. And another issue that students run into is that they don't ask questions while the teacher is lecturing when the ideas are fresh in their minds. You might be thinking, oh, I want to really just be polite, and I don't want to interrupt because he's really moving, he's on a roll, and we appreciate that. That is so nice of you. But at the same time, if you're confused, somebody else is probably confused. And a lot of times what happens is we might say something, and then you're sitting thinking to yourself, going, what the heck? What is it? I am so confused. I am so lost. And then while you're thinking about being lost, we've moved on to another topic, and then you don't know what to do now. You don't know where we are, and you're thinking, oh gosh, what happened? How did we get here? I've completely lost how we got from point A to point C. So don't wait until after the lecture, if it's possible, to ask your questions. If you wait to ask questions, they end up going through the rest of the lecture missing a piece of information. So then you lose more because you were trying to be polite a little bit. So.
And the thing is, we don't consider it as interrupting. We like questions in the middle of class. That helps me to know if you understand it, if you don't, and what you need help with.
And it shows you're paying attention.
And that too.
Yeah, we love that.
Yes. So it's not rude at all.
So let's look at some study tips. That might help you out just a wee little bit. So always do the homework. The homework is practice for the test.
It is. Always read well. When you're reading in your textbook, and I get it, we actually just talked about how your consciousness fluctuates. You may start thinking and daydreaming. So when you're doing that, one thing you can do for sure is anything that's in bold print, that's of some type of importance. Your summaries, those subject headings, captions, pictures, graphs, anything that will stand out to you, focus on that. That'll give you an idea also of the key concepts that are listed. Also, okay, Michael. So when you're taking notes, you want to underline and take notes. Highlight something of significance, especially that thing that's in bold print. Highlight that. Also, when you read, and sometimes it looks like gibberish or another language, rewrite that paragraph and rephrase it, especially for things that you find hard to understand. Now, something that I've done, and it might be practice, but it's worth it. If it's a word or a sentence that I struggle with, I'll go to dictionary.com and find that long word and find other ways of saying it or some similar words to it. Then rewrite that phrase so it can make sense to me. I'll have a better chance of retaining that information. Those summaries at the end of your chapter, granted, they're very helpful. Don't read them only, but do read them. They give you an overview of everything you just went over in that chapter. It summarizes all that information that was in the chapter. So if you find something new in the summary, that's clearly something that you missed or didn't really focus on or pay attention to. So now make a note and go back and review that again. And concentrate on what you don't know. If you know it, that's not the information that you're going to have trouble with or forget during the exam. The parts that you found difficult and hard, that is the thing you need to focus on. That is the thing that you need to really practice your homework or whatever you need to do. That's the thing you focus on, because that's the thing that's going to give you trouble on your exam. Also, I was just telling the student this, take frequent breaks. There's no way you can read 20 pages in an hour nonstop and be excited, remember what you read, motivated. You're actually, after a few minutes, you're just going to lose it. So take breaks. If you're that person who just really can't read a lot of text at once, I was telling a student, try maybe in 15-minute increments or maybe a 30-minute increment and take a break. But there's no way you can read a full 40-page chapter in one sitting. That's not going to work. Get your sleep. Yeah, I've discovered, Michael, students are getting less than 6 hours of sleep at night.
Oh, that's not good.
We talked about accruing that sleep debt and what happens as a result. So guys, I get it. Some of you have really busy lives, but sleep is very, very important. Not getting sleep interferes with your ability to remember. It increases anxiety, depression. What else am I missing?
It causes you to forget faster. It causes you to learn things slower. It makes you cranky.
And also, guys, that sleep debt that you're accruing, let's say it's really, really high, your body's going to be like, you know what? Yeah, we're driving to the store, but I'm going to take a little nap right now because I'm tired. So when you don't get enough sleep and you've done this for a long period of time, you just may go to sleep at any moment. It can happen. Your body's just done.
Yeah, I've fallen asleep at the wheel before. Not good. It's bad time.
That's not good.
Not good at all.
Not fun.
No.
So if we can, guys, let's try to get a little sleep. That'll be helpful. And relax. I get it. You're anxious. You got a lot of issues going on, but you've got to work on taking a break and unwinding. We're actually going to go over a technique that will help you with that a little later.
Absolutely.
But if you're really stressed, you're not learning. You've got to be able to relax a little bit. Okay. Study tricks and strategies, guys. So when it comes to, well, most people want a secret. I'm sorry to tell you, there isn't one except for study. But if you're a person who needs to have some type of gimmick or something to assist you, flashcards. Flashcards, it depends on your subject. I know in psychology, we actually have flashcards built into the course. But personally for me, I would prefer to write my own. That gives me a better chance of remembering them. So you create the flashcards, of course, with your term or concept on one side, the definition on the next. And that way, hopefully you can remember it better. Rewriting notes. I know this is a lot of work, or it seems to be a lot of work, but that is your best method. If you're in class, you probably wrote it in some type of shorthand where you had to hurry up and get some things written down. When you go back home and you rewrite it in your own words, and of course you may have to refer to your book or your PowerPoint, this gives you a better chance of remembering it. And then you're putting it in a language that you can understand. make it neat and orderly, or legible at least.
Right. Another thing that you can try is a mnemonic. Maybe if you're auditory as a learner like me, then music, putting things into songs helps you out. So, we've got this classic way to remember the different notes in bass clef here, grizzly bears don't fly airplanes. Just to remember where the letters are when you're looking at sheet music. That's just one of many. And we've seen all of these before, right? We've heard of things like PEMDAS, right? Or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, you may know it that way. These are all just mnemonics, little things that can help us to remember important terms and chunk them together. You might also try a jingle. A jingle is when you turn something into a song because it helps you remember. For example, So, for example, when I was in high school, my math teacher taught us the quadratic equation song, or the quadratic formula song. And I still to this day remember it. It's negative BE plus or minus square root, B squared minus 4AC, B squared minus 4AC over 2A, over 2A. And it's burned in my brain. It's been over 20 years.
And he's still in it?
And I still know the song. So there are so many ways. Yeah, exactly. So there are so many ways that we can try to turn things into songs and help us remember. Because for many of us, we do remember stuff. Some people can memorize a song and know all the lyrics every single time. I appreciate it. It will be available on iTunes. Another thing to think about, though, is chunking. Chunking is a great memory technique where you take finite pieces of information and you put them in little groups. So, for example, which of these numbers is easier to remember? Is it 3,129,823,812? Or is it 312,982,3812?
How about B?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So the thing is with chunking is that we need to remember, like I said earlier, that our memory is finite. We can only hold so much information. And so what chunking does is it allows us to put things into little clusters, little clumps of information that are related. And so you might have information in, we'll say, biology class. Maybe in your biology class, you've got a whole chunk of information that is dedicated to the nervous system. You've got another chunk that's dedicated to parts of the brain. Maybe you've got another section that's dedicated to your eyeballs, right? And so now you don't have to try and have a whole list of the whole book basically in your head at one time. You can go, okay, I'm thinking about the brain. Okay, what are the parts of the brain? Well, I've got the cerebral cortex. Okay, well, that's a chunk by itself. What are the 4 lobes of the cerebral cortex? We've got the occipital lobe, the parietal lobe, the temporal lobe, the frontal lobe. So it's not that I'm thinking about these things all at once. It's just that I've got them in chunks. So I learn them in different groups. So this is a great way to help yourself remember these things.
And finally, study groups. Now, think about study groups. I actually had one class, they were planning to get together, I think virtually study. They can be very helpful because someone can be strong where you are not so strong and vice versa. But guess what, guys? Study groups is to study, not social hour. You're not catching up on the latest gossip or the latest TikTok or the latest dance. You have to really focus on the study. So if you know they're going to be distracting, I don't recommend them. Yeah. But if you're going to actually utilize them for what they should be utilized for, they could be very good ways of studying.
Yeah, groups are best when I found when there's everybody has a specific role. You've got like that one person that's the leader that says, okay, let's get this done.
Yes.
You've got that other person that maybe is the researcher that has already done a lot of the hard stuff.
Yes.
And you got another person maybe that's the organizer.
Yes.
And that kind of thing. So when everybody has a clear role, then that helps everyone to stay on track. But if you're all just friends and you're just like getting together and hanging out,
eating food, and that might not be so good. You
That's
actually wasted some time.
yeah, that's just social hours.
It is.
Yeah.
So they can be fun and relaxing, but also they should serve a purpose and matter
At some point.
at some point.
So,
Okay.
oop,
See, of course.
but let's, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take a brief pause, right? And we are going to pull up a little quiz for you guys. So all of you are encouraged to play along.
I want to pull out your phone, go to .com. You want to test your knowledge. How much you've been paying attention here, guys?
Yeah, so we're going to pull that up in just a second. All right, so join, so I will get the little screen going. All right, so. Yeah. Aha. All right, so just follow these instructions. Go to kahoot.it and then put in that PIN number, 4649126. And Megan, can you see this good?
Yes. I see
All
the
right,
names popping up.
Okay, there you guys go. We were waiting for you.
Word, we had technical difficulties again.
They were paying attention so much, they were just had to find their phone.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
you know, which is, you know, really, really nice, actually.
It is very nice. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Paying attention so well that you didn't know where your phone was.
Right. That means you weren't on your phone.
That's
during this.
right. That's
You know, that's nice. That's nice. It's good to be paid attention.
good stuff.
Yeah. So that's a good number. You want to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, let's get started, guys.
All right.
Okay, so question 1.
Answer this quickly.
Which of the following is not one of the little rituals of procrastination?
Is it prepare a snack, call a friend, setting a specific time to study, or check your social media?
Remember these little rituals. These are things that you got to get out of your system.
Yeah.
Which one of these is not something that's part of procrastination?
Oh, and everybody got it right.
Nice.
Good job. Good job. Let's put another one. Oh, and we've got Israel in the lead. Click on the trigger there. True or false?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. True or false? A visual learner learns best by watching videos. Is it true or is it false? Very good, guys.
Nice. You guys are awesome.
Oh, and Drew has taken the lead.
Okay. Next question, true or false? Information can be retained in your short-term memory for about 1 minute on average. True or false? You really had to be paying attention to remember this one.
Yeah, especially because we had technical difficulties during this time.
Okay, let's see who's a good guesser.
I don't know. If they were listening, then they got it.
That is true.
All right.
Okay, nice. Yes, only 1 minute. I'm sorry. Yeah. Drew, nice job.
Okay, Basharan is coming up.
We got one more question.
Here we go. Let's do it. Last question. Which of these is not the best method of organization? Is it writing down assignment due dates, using a planner or planner app, print course syllabus or calendar, or completing assignments when you have free time?
I can't see the question.
Which of these? Oh, no.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
No.
Wow.
Okay, so not a good method of organization is if you're completing assignments when you have free time, you're not really organized. So
Yeah.
Okay, guys, sorry about that.
How'd it go? Let's see. Final results. Sharon in third. Look at that smiley face. And then Drew in second, and our winner, William. Out of nowhere.
I mean, really, William, we didn't even see you.
And then congrats to our runners up.
Wow, nice job.
Yeah.
That's, they can hear.
Okay, so
we are going to go ahead and get out of that and get back into our presentation. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Things working properly. That's nice. But then we have to get resume.
yes.
Hey, there we are. Lovely.
So you guys did a nice job on the quiz. So Mr. Holman's going to talk to you a little bit about stress.
Yes. So a little bit of stress is a good thing. It pushes you to do better, but too much can be a bad thing. You know, a little stress, we're like, we got deadlines, got to get this done, so we don't procrastinate too much, you know, and so that's fine. But when you have too much stress, it becomes overwhelming. Some people will start making more mistakes. Some people will just shut down and not do anything. And the whole time the clock is ticking. You're taking that test and you're just thinking, oh God, I have an hour to take this exam. Oh God, now I have 55 minutes. Oh God, now I have 45. Where did the last 5 minutes go? I don't remember where they went. And then you start thinking, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Well, what you can do is try utilizing relaxation techniques for one. And I'm going to show you one in just a moment. But you can also control negative self-talk. So what is negative self-talk? Well, that is when you talk to yourself bad, when you're just mean to yourself. And we say it all the time, right? It's like, I'm not good at math, or, you know, I suck at school. I'm stupid. I'm never going to get this.
I'm not good at taking tests.
Yeah, I'm bad at school. Those are all negative self-talk examples. And so what happens then is that you are actually being a bully to yourself in that moment. You don't think you are, you know, you're just like, I've always been, crappy at schoolwork. I'm never going to be one of the smart people in the room. Imagine what you look like as a child. Think about the little kid that you are, or that you were once upon a time. Maybe pull up a baby picture or something. And now think about you saying all those things directly into that little kid's face.
Ooh.
Because that's what you're doing. You're talking about that little kid when you talk about yourself that way. That's not nice. So we need to be kind to ourselves. We need to practice positive self-talk, meaning that every time we have a negative thought, we counter it. So instead of saying, I'm not good at math, you can say, I work really hard at math. Instead of saying, I'm bad at school, you can say, I have really struggled in the past, but I know that now. Or I'm doing better in school. So it sounds silly, but those little things that you talk to yourself about help so much, because what happens is when you're doing that negative self-talk, you're actually making the stress that you naturally feel because you're taking a time test or whatever, you're making it worse. So one way to help with this is with a relaxation technique. And I call this relaxation technique stop, drop, and roll. And so what you want to do for this, and I encourage everyone at home to also practice this with me. You can, when you're, say, taking a test and stress is getting to you, anxiety is really bothering you, in that moment, I want you to stop everything. Stop working on the test, just stop. I always imagine like a big red stop sign in front of me. Just stop it. Just stop it. You can even say out loud if you're by yourself and not looking like a crazy person, stop. You know, tell yourself to stop it when all those thoughts are flooding into your brain. And then I want you to drop everything. So if you're holding a pencil or a pen, drop that pen, drop your head, drop your hands, drop your eyes if you want to. And now I want you to roll. And as you roll, I want you to move your head clockwise. So just roll it up. And as you're rolling it up, I want you to take in a nice deep breath. And then on the way down, let that breath out. And then as we roll back up, deep breath. And I call it dragon breath because I like to think that all of that stress is just building up in my lungs. And then I just go, and I just spit it all the way out. And we just keep doing that. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out as we roll. And you'll notice just doing that even a little bit, it relaxes your body.
Yeah.
That is a physical thing that you can do that changes your mental attitude. And it's something that works like that. It is very, very effective. And that's just one of many relaxation techniques that you could try. You can look up others, see if you don't like that one, look something else up, see what works best for you. No two people are alike. But that is a really great technique that you can use to help you to improve even more. Another thing we can think about is time management. You know, you're taking a test, which is one of the biggest stressors that a student can face. And you got to think about how can you make the most of your time? Well, the number one thing you can do is if this is an open note test, have your notes organized and ready for use.
Please.
Can't tell you how many times a student will come to one of our exams, they'll be open note, and they'll just have like a binder full of papers. And when they open it up, papers scatter and fly everywhere, right? It's like, well, good luck finding anything in that. So it's important that your stuff is organized so that you can get to it later. Because then you can look at something, say you're in a psychology class, and you've just been asked a question about sensation and perception. Well, I've got my whole chapter that's dedicated to sensation and perception, and it's got this little tab in it. I love tabs. And you go, oh, that says sensation and perception. Let me just move all my notes over, and I'm in the sensation and perception section.
Yes.
That way you're not digging. Think about that. If you're worried about time, think about how much time you waste digging back and forth, looking for it.
I always tell students, you can't study for the test while you're taking it.
Right.
So it's best to be prepared before. Yeah.
Also, create a dump sheet of vital information you don't want to forget. Be prepared to write this down on the back of the test or a blank piece of paper if necessary. This is especially if you're actually, let's say, allowed to have open notes, allowed to have open book. You know, if you can't have that stuff, don't do this.
Don't do it.
Then it becomes a cheat sheet, and that's a whole different animal.
It
But
is.
if you're allowed to have notes, maybe it's a good idea to have all the stuff that you know is going to be super important written on one paper that's at the front of it all. So you don't even have to search your notes. It's just bam, right there. If you can, preview the test. Is it multiple choice? How long is it? What kind of questions are there?
How many questions?
How many, right? You know, are they true, false? Are they multiple choice? All that good stuff. And create a test schedule. Determine how many questions there are, how much time you have, and how long you will give yourself for each question. So this is another thing, right? If you know you've got an hour to take this test, and there are, let's just say there are 60 questions. That's a lot of questions for an hour. So actually, you know what? Let's bump it up. Let's say you have 2 hours to take this test. 60 questions. So that's about 2 minutes a question. So still a lot, but it lets you know, okay, if I'm taking too long on this one, I'll come back to it later, right? Because one of the worst things that can happen is that a student will take so long on a really hard question, and then when they finally get done with it, they move on to the next one, and it's super easy. And they're like, oh, dang, I could have answered that maybe 20 minutes ago. So again, answer the easy questions first. Then answer your difficult questions next, and answer the hardest questions after that. So if you can save your answers and go back to them, then you can do that. Now, if you're taking a test and they don't allow backtracking or something like that, then that's a little bit of a different story. But a lot of tests don't do that. Like ours, we just leave it all open, so you can just do it. It just depends on your teacher. But it's really good to answer the easy ones first because you know those answers. You don't have to stress about them. And that actually will help take away some of your anxiety because you'll be like, oh man, I don't know this. But then you answer those easy questions. Then you go, look at all these questions I answered that actually I did know. I'm very positive about these answers. And so that helps to make you not doubt yourself so much. Guess at the rest of the questions. This is so important. Never leave a question blank. When you are taking a test, you are guaranteed to get the question wrong if you don't leave an answer.
Yeah.
Like it just even though you feel defeated, if it's a true or false question, guess what? You got a 50-50 chance. If it's a multiple choice and there's 4 options, one of those answers is the answer. Yeah, yes. If you have no idea and you've still got time, guess. And review your test, especially if you have extra time there at the end. So a lot of times students will go through the test, they've answered all of them, but it's like they're in a hurry to go somewhere, right? It's like, look, I'm hungry for lunch too, but if you have the extra time, make use of it. Yeah, use all of your test time. Never give up. So many students will just take, and I'm guilty of this too. When I was in school, I would take a test and I would get about 30 minutes in, knew that I knew nothing, and then I would just go A, B, B, A, B, B, A, and then I would submit it, and they'd be like, whatever, right? Well, that's giving up. I didn't even look at the questions there at the end. So my guessing isn't even that good. So never give up. At least try. Worth that much.
So just remember, not a good, but a great college student, they know when to study. Because you're going to have to. Sorry, guys. You know where to study. You know how to take your notes, good notes that work for you. You know what to do to complete your homework, your assignments, and you know why it's important to be a great test taker. So, with that being said, if you want more information, we do offer tutoring. Online, in person?
Both.
Wow.
Yeah, all you got to do is go to laniertech.edu/tutoring, and then you can sign up. And you can sign up for online, a virtual tutor, or you can even sign up for in person. And they've got this really cool calendar where you can just plug and chug what is good for you based on what's available. And so in this PowerPoint, we have the current hours for everything available. So it gives you an idea of what you're going to work with.
Yes.
But you can then see what else is available.
Yes.
And
please utilize the tutoring. We're paying them. So guys, please, seriously, if you struggle in math, writing, anatomy, physiology, chemistry, we have services that are available. You pay for it with your tuition. So why not take advantage?
All students. And and it's not something that you think is, oh, this is just English class. No. Like if you're in, say, a psychology class and you are worried about APA format, guess what? Our writing tutors are trained in APA format. They can help you.
Yes.
They can help you to figure out how to Google things in Galileo.
Yes.
Yeah, well, not Google things in Galileo.
Yes.
Search things in Galileo.
Research.
Yeah.
So
they are a wonderful resource. We do strongly encourage you to use because you've already paid for it. You might as well use what your money's going for. And that's pretty much it.
So, does anyone have any questions?
Nope.
Okay, Israel does.
Let's see. Will tutoring courses also apply to specialized courses such as engineering? They can. If you are worried about, say, a specific math, say, approach,
yes,
like using certain formulas and things, then they might be something useful for you. They can also certainly help you if you're needing to learn what's the best way to write a paper. So they can be very generic. They're definitely not designed just for specific classes. Yeah. Does anyone have any other questions? Oh, well, you would just go to the tutoring center and then
Or Linear Tech homepage.
or their Linear Tech homepage.
Mhm.
Yes. And you can actually contact them. You can email them from the tutoring homepage, and they'll be able to respond. Is there a tutor for psychology?
Sort of, Sharon. You would refer to the writing center or the writing tutor. They will help you with your formatting. They will help you understand how to conduct some research. From my understanding, I do believe they will proofread any assignment that you have completed, or
Yes.
maybe grammatical errors or incorrect formatting.
Which is very helpful, especially in a psychology class. However, for specific psychology-related topics, you're going to want to reach out to your instructor.
Yes.
And we are more than happy. Everything I can guarantee, psychology instructor is more than willing to talk to you about the subject itself.
You just email your instructor. You guys coordinate a time that works for you can maybe meet virtual or in person, whatever works.
But
But
they can just answer it in an email.
or if you have a specific concern, email it. And your instructor, you guys can have a correspondence going.
Yeah. Anything else?
I see Ms. Whitworth put in a request for a survey. So guys, if you've attended this, would you please take a few minutes to complete the survey for this webinar? So we can make sure we're making it great for you.
It's just a few questions. It won't take you but 2 seconds. I also had a few quick announcements. We did a drawing for those of you who signed in, and we have 3 winners. So I'm going to put the winners in here, but it is Sharon Merlos and Israel Hernandez and Kelsey Simmons. So congratulations. And I will send you some options that you can pick from, and just let me know what you want, and I will get it to you at your campus. So I'll send you the options. You tell me what you want out of the options, and then we'll get it to you. And you can just email me. Hang on, I'm trying to do this while I'm talking. I should have just done it. So those are the winners. And then email Megan Whitworth at mwhitworth@lineartech.edu. And I'll email you also. And my last thing is, when we used to have these in person, we would give away these really nice planners. You can kind of see it through my back.
Bernie's blocking it.
You fill them in. It has all the dates. You can put the dates in so they don't expire. So you just fill in all the dates for each of the months in the semester that you're in, and it'll help you stay organized. You can put all of your assignments in when you need to start studying for things. And those are available to you all, even those of you who are listening to the recording. You just need to go to the front desk at your campus and ask for one, and they're there for whoever wants one. So go get your planner. Even those of you who didn't win the drawing, you're still winners here because we give prizes to everybody. But we think that these will help you guys stay organized. And if you don't want to use paper planners, you can always put dates in your phone calendar with reminders and alerts to help you remember to study for things. So that's all we have. Again, please try and fill out this survey real quickly so that we make this the best webinar as possible for you. And thank you for attending. Thank you, Mr. Holman, Ms. Ben Walker. And yeah, you guys feel free to send any questions to that email address you have about studying or classes, and I'll help you the best I can. But thank you so much.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.